Welcome to the Akashic Library.
All right, let's talk about one of the absolute trickiest parts of dating, right? Honesty. How much truth is too much truth when you're just starting to get to know someone? It is such a delicate balancing act, and honestly, it can make or break everything. So let's get into it. But first, let's back up a step. Let's ask a really basic question. Why are we even doing this? I mean, what is the real point of dating? Forget the nice dinners for a second. What's the deep down human thing we're all searching for? You see, it's not really about the small talk, is it? We're there, sitting across from this person, because deep down, we are just so tired of being unseen. The real goal of all this, it's to be known. It's to finally find someone who can see and understand what's really going on inside our heads. Okay, but here's the huge problem. This is the central paradox of early dating. On the one hand, we desperately want to be known. But on the other hand, if we actually unload our full, authentic, messy selves too soon, we might just scare them away for good.
Because let's be real, the unfiltered truth of who any of us are, our histories, our anxieties, our weird quirks, that can be a lot. It's a heavy load for someone who has zero context for all the good stuff about us yet. The full, unedited story is, as it says here, pretty perilous to bear when you're basically a stranger.
And just think about what kind of stuff we're talking about here. This isn't small potatoes. It's that massive crisis brewing at work. It's a really complicated family. It's the anxiety that creeps in, our true sexual interests, or maybe even a pending lawsuit. I mean, this is the heavy, real fabric of our lives that we tend to, tuck away at the beginning.
So what do? We're stuck in this paradox. Well, most of us, whether we admit it or not, we adopt a strategy. You could call it lying, maybe, but a much more delicate and accurate word for it is editing. It's that very conscious choice to manage the truth, to make it just a little easier to swallow.
And this is exactly what that editing looks like in practice. That traumatic first relationship, it was just somewhat stormy. Your incredibly difficult father, he's just a little intense. We're not inventing a whole new person, but we are definitely sanding down the rough edges, hoping to present a version of ourselves that's, a bit more approachable. But here's the catch. This strategy, it might get you a second date, sure, but it leads to this really hollow victory. Because you might be admired, but you're being admired for a performance, for a character you're playing, and that leaves you feeling profoundly lonely, even when you're sitting right next to them.
And you can see all this snowballs, right? The editing works, you get the second date. That turns into a 10th date. And before you know it, you're on a trip to Amsterdam together, they're meeting your friends, and from the outside, everything looks absolutely perfect. A total success.
But this quote just hits so hard. It gets to the very heart of the problem. We get into dating to escape loneliness, not to create a new, fancier version of it. If the person you're with only knows the polished, edited you, you're not actually connecting. You're just performing. And you're just as lonely as you were before, except now you have an audience of one.
So this is the whole point, right here. The shallow goal, the easy goal is to be admired, for someone to think we're just marvelous. But the deep, true, meaningful goal of love is to be known, for someone to see all of our complexities and not run screaming for the hills. I just love this line, a schlemiel. It's a Yiddish word for that clumsy, awkward, kind of foolish part of yourself. And that's what we're all secretly hoping for, isn't it? For someone to see our inner schlemiel, all our flaws and messiness, and to just forgive us for it, to still want to keep us around.
So, if blurting out every single truth on date one is a disaster, and a life of constant editing just leads to more loneliness, what on earth is the answer? Well, the solution is in what's called the wisdom of sequencing. It's not about if you tell the truth. It's all about the art of when.
And it really breaks down into 3 pretty clear steps. First things first, you have to establish your goodness. You just show them that you are a kind, thoughtful, and, approximately sane person. Then, over time, you build up a balance of evidence of all your good qualities. You create this strong foundation of trust. And only then, once you're in that safe space, can you start to introduce the more complicated stuff.
So, the big question is, how long does this take? Well, the source gives us this wonderfully specific, almost funny number, 220 evenings. Now look, the point isn't that you need to mark a calendar. The point is that building the kind of deep trust that can handle the whole, complicated truth, that's not a weekend project. It takes real, significant time.
And this balancing evidence, it isn't something abstract. It's built through small, real moments.
It's you nursing them through a nasty stomach flu. It's how you supported them when their friend was going through a crisis. It's the patience you show reading the same kid's book over and over. Every single one of those actions adds another coin to the emotional bank account of trust.
So you see, this whole thing isn't about being deceitful, it's just emotional intelligence. It's kind of like being a good parent, right? You don't sit a 5-year-old down and explain the complexities of mortgage rates. No, you cut the truth into little digestible pieces that they can actually understand and process.
And that really brings us to the most powerful idea of all. This careful, timed, thoughtful sharing of who we really are, that isn't a bug in the system, it is the system. It's a core part of the messy, paradoxical, eternally complicated, and beautiful work of building real love.
So, I'll leave you with a question to chew on. In your own life, what are the truths you're hoping to share with someone one day? And maybe more importantly, have you started doing the beautiful work of building the kind of trust that will allow those truths to finally be heard?
Honesty feels risky because it removes our defenses. In the next video, we'll talk about why truth often brings relief after fear, and why avoiding it costs more than we think.